Noah, thank you so much for coming on to My City Dance Series and definitely being a part of this project and being a part of this platform and having that willing spirit to come on and to share your story about dance and to really see how your passion is truly alive within your dancing and being a part of your life. So I want you to share with the audience, your first name, last name, where you're from, how you got into dance. Talk a little bit about that.
Sure. Yeah. No. Thanks for having me. Absolutely. This is super awesome. My name is Noah Lovas. I am from Gilbertsville, Pennsylvania. Really, really small town outside of Philadelphia. Probably have never heard of it. I got into dancing after Michael Jackson passed around that time. So when I figured out more about who he was, his music, his dancing, kind of opened up my eyes into that realm of entertainment. And I got real obsessed, real into him. And then from there, I used to watch America's Best Dance Crew, which was a TV show on MTV back in the day. And it was like a hip hop show with these dance crews. The Jabberwockies were on it at the time. And I remember thinking that was the coolest thing. And I would watch YouTube videos of like Ian Eastwood, Brian Puspose, and just watch their style, this cool, flowy, lyrical, urban vibe. And that's when I kind of gravitated towards that style of dance. And that's when I mainly started dancing and moving in that realm and that genre.
Wow. That's pretty cool. So Michael Jackson, obviously the king of pop, right? Michael Jackson, he inspired so many of us, including myself.
Yeah.
With his dance and his music and just the combination of both, right? And just to really see that on TV was like, man, like, how do I move like that, right?
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool to see how he inspired you. And even with America's Best Dance Crew, I mean, like, we all grew up watching, you know what I mean? Like the Jabberwockies and, so many different crews on there. And it was like IME, for instance, like IME with Pac-Man. It's like all those dancers today are still going.
Yeah.
Right. And so, when you were starting to grow in your dance, how did you start to develop your style of dance?
That was probably the challenging part, because it went from like what everybody does, from like waving and like popping and locking, and kind of just transitioned to like a more street jazz kind of style. And at the time I didn't know what that was called. But that's what it kind of transitioned to. It transitioned to that lyrical, that flow, that urban street funk, hip hop, all mixed together in what we call street jazz. And that is the most fitting title I could use to describe my style of dance.
Wow, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. So like, you think about, a lot of the dancers like Gene Kelly, for instance, right? You think about how he, his style of dance was very like jazzy kind of style a little bit. He was like very quick with his footwork. And it was just like amazing to see, even like Fred Astaire too. And so when I watched some of your videos, like it kind of reminded me a little bit of their style. So that's pretty dope, man.
Yeah.
So the challenges, I know you mentioned it a little bit before with your style, but challenges in regards to dance. I know like a lot of times in the dance industry, it can be challenging as far as self-esteem and a lot of those different elements. Can you talk a little bit about that? Maybe what are some challenges that you experienced as a dancer, working in this industry?
Definitely. And so it's been a struggle. And what I wish somebody was there to tell me in the beginning was take it day by day, take it step by step, no pun intended, but literally, because if you get wrapped up in one thing, what somebody else is doing, you get wrapped up in your head and think you're not good enough, this and that, it all just kind of slowly consumes you, all the negativity. And you don't need that. You don't need to compare yourself. You don't need to keep putting yourself down. Keep prospering, keep taking classes, keep putting yourself out there. Because doing good for yourself is going to help in the long run. And I know our minds kind of like tend to push us in a negative realm sometimes, but when you truly focus on yourself and your craft, I know it sounds corny, but if you put your mind to it, you can do it. You got to believe in yourself, because I used to not believe. I used to have super low self-esteem. I used to think, what's the point? There's no point in doing this if, it's just going to be me dancing randomly in my small town. But no, because when you keep going, one thing leads to the next. Another door opens. You meet another person. It all comes together one way, shape, or form or another if you just keep going and you just keep trying. So just don't give up. As corny as it may sound, you just got to keep going. You got to keep going.
And that in itself, that doesn't even sound corny. That's just the truth.
Yeah, that's the truth.
Right? That's just the truth. I think a lot of times, like a lot of dancers, they tend to compare themselves a lot. Oh, yeah. And they tend to get into this mindset of, I want to dance exactly like that person, but you're not that person. Yep. Right? You are you and only you. Right? And so you have to develop your style and your character. And so that kind of transitions in regards to you teaching workshops. I know you have experience with that and you continue to teach as well. How do you convey that through your teaching of dance with your students in your workshops?
That's a great question. That's something I actually always try to instill on students and stuff. The fact that you need to be yourself, and that's what I look for. I always tell them yo, don't look at somebody else in the mirror. Don't look at me. Look at yourself, because the next person ain't going to be dancing like you. You're not dancing like the next person. Don't judge yourself. Don't look at me and think I'm not Noah. That's not, and I stress that every time with every group, because that's the last thing I want somebody to feel when they're dancing. If you're taking a class from me, it's going to be fun. And we're going to make jokes and we're going to dance, but we're going to be serious and we're going to learn. And we can't be serious and learn if we're just stuck in our head. And that's what I try to bring out of the students. Hey, I'm here to help. We're just here for a good time. I want to see what you got. I want to see you let loose, have fun. And I feel that is a triggering switch kind of thing where it's okay, this is reassuring. This is what I needed to hear. And it's little things like that go a long way. It may not seem like it, but people do respect, care, and understand when you truly break down an emotion and when you break down how they feel, because we all go through it. And like I said, getting in your head can be a real challenge sometimes when we have that little voice. But if I can make a dance class be less frightening or be less, intimidating or anxious, that's all I can ask for. That's all I want to do.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And that's the key. The key is to have fun. Yeah. Right. That's it. You gotta have fun with it. Right. And I think a lot of times dancers can take themselves too seriously. Yeah. Right. So that you have to have a balance. So have you ever had a dancer come up to you and actually thank you for, sharing your teachings with them and, inspiring them and really motivating them? Have you had some of those experiences? Yeah. And it feels good because I don't do a lot of talking. You don't see me writing, paragraphs on Instagram. I don't post a lot of things about my life. But when it comes to the studio and class, the students are there for you. And they want to hear, not only see you, but they want to hear what you have to say. Because you're at this point in your life, what can you share? What can you offer? And it's great that they pay attention, they have their ears open, they're ready to learn, they're ready to hear. And it's just is really, really inspiring to know that you have influence and that, hey, maybe people do want to listen to me. But yeah, it's always reassuring, and it's always reassuring. I get people coming up to me afterwards. I read messages that they send me and stuff. And it's hey, if I can impact your world even a little bit, or maybe your mindset, then hey, my job's done, Exactly. Yeah. It's interesting because when they come to the studio and they work with you and they learn from you, it's like you were able to really impact them as soon as they leave that studio. As soon as they leave, they go home and they think about what they've experienced with you. And I think that's like the most powerful thing, is that they leave with that knowledge and positivity and appreciation, and that's like inspires them, you know, because they see you doing your thing. That's just so awesome. Well, Noah, I want to thank you so much for coming on to My City Dance Series and being a part of this exclusive interview and sharing your story. And to all those that are watching, fellow dancers in the community and non-dancers can appreciate your passion and your artistry. So thank you.
Thank you, man.